Hey everybody, it's End of Times Girl here, better known as Luna. Well, what can I say, guys? I said that my next video I would be talking about things that I've predicted, like, since I was a little girl. And I just wanted to share them with everybody. I don't claim to be a prophet or anything like that, but I think I'm very spiritually in tune, especially with like events that was supposed to take place near the end of times regarding Israel and America. So from the time I was about 8 years old, one of the first things that I predicted would be that the end of times would take place in my lifetime. That was one of the things that I knew that would happen. Then I predicted there would be power grid failures, like power outages. I didn't say power grid, I said power outages, which now I've noticed that Venezuela is currently having a power outage, power failure. And I noticed that the United States of America is preparing for power outages in the future. So that's one of the things I predicted that came true. I predicted, I knew Jerusalem would be named the capital of Israel, and that's happened. I knew that there would be someone going to people saying that they're God, like, saying that they're like God or they're Jesus, and they wouldn't be. They would be playing like they were God. I was a little girl. I said somebody will be playing like they're God, but they're not going to be God. And so later on, I've researched and I come to learn that there's going to be an Antichrist. Now, I said that this Antichrist person would be somebody who has a lot of money, who has something. He's going to many different countries. He gets his hands in many different countries and has other countries, especially Israel, in his pocket. And people believe that he's doing really good things when what he's doing isn't good at all. And it turns out really bad later on. I said, one of the things I said was last year I said that Iran was the biggest threat to Israel, and that was before I knew anything. And then I said, there should be a wall. I think we should put up a wall between Israel and Palestine, and now that's coming to pass. So that came true. I said that, Russia, Vladimir Putin should be used. I said this months and months ago. He should be used to negotiate between Iran and Israel so that they don't go to war together, because I knew that Iran was a threat to Israel, and that's all coming to pass now. Donald Trump, I predicted, as you know, Donald Trump was born on a blood moon, which means that he's the one that named Jerusalem the capital of Israel. In the end of times, all the blood moons happened right before Donald Trump took in the presidency, and him being born on a blood moon, I believe that God has him where he is. He was meant to be there during the end of times. He was meant to be the president. He was meant to name Jerusalem the capital of Israel. I believe that I saw fire falling from the sky, like fireballs, when I was a little girl, and I knew that was in near end times things. And there's been reports of fireballs going everywhere across the world. More reports now than there ever has been. I knew that there'd be an economy problem, like there'd be a lot of people that wasn't normally poverty stricken, they would be poverty stricken. I knew the trials and tribulations would be 7 years without ever looking it up, and then I confirmed it later on. I researched it and I found out that I was right. So I am a very spiritually in tune person, and I have been able to predict a lot of things. Before Donald Trump took the White House, I predicted that he would have a mess, there'd be a mess, the world trades would be, there'd be a big mess, a thing going on with the world trade. So now we got the trade war with China, and whenever he first went in the White House, if you remember, Mexico didn't want to sign any trade agreements with him. So I predicted that. With Donald Trump, I predicted that this trade war is going to look good at first, people are going to like it, and I predict later on in his presidency, I hate to say it, but I believe the stock market and stuff is going to go way down, and it's going to be bad later on. That hasn't came to pass, but I have noticed recently I've been following it, and China hasn't been buying as many products from the United States, but we're still buying a huge amount of products from them. So I was able to predict that. I saw like a lot of people like stealing and robbing, due to the money problems. People are stealing in stores, food, clothes, like just all over the place. You know what I'm saying? I saw that going on a lot during the end of times. During the end of times, like, there would be the Temple Mount. I predicted there would be an animal sacrifice about a month to about 3 weeks before. I didn't know anything about an animal sacrifice at the third temple, but I predicted there would be an animal sacrifice at the third temple. I'm in America. I'm not in Israel, so like there's no way I had any way of knowing that. Like, I didn't look it up or anything, but later on I gained knowledge of it. So I was just really impressed with all the things that I've been able to predict, and all the things that has come to pass, and all the things that are happening. I predicted America would be divided in two in the end of times, and now all over the news reports they're saying America is now divided more than it's ever been, and I predicted that like when I was a lot younger. So yeah, and I mean, like the power outages, I mean, it's just all of this stuff. It really shocks me because I've always, like, from the time I was a little girl, I was like 8 years old, walking around saying the end of times would happen, and I wanted to be like Jesus Christ. Like, I wanted to love everybody. I didn't want to be racist, and like I've done that like my whole life. I never judged other people. Like, maybe like there for a while I became addicted to drugs, but Jesus, he helped me. Like, I was on drugs, but I'm off of them now. And the one thing I've noticed that we have going on in America, like all my friends that were doing drugs, and I hope some people from Israel and other countries like sees this video, because we have something going on in America. Like, everybody that's smoking like meth, they're all hearing voices of like fallen angels and demons saying that they're taking them to hell. And I was hearing the same thing. When I was a little girl, I said there would be a prophet in America that got attacked. I'm not claiming to be a prophet, okay? But I did get physically attacked by fallen angels. They split my body in two on the inside internally. It was very painful. They tortured me for 3 years. I've heard voices. They was physically trying to blow my heart up. And it hurt really bad. And like day and night, I heard voices, and they tormented me and tormented me and tormented me. But they hurt me physically, and it was very painful. They split me in two, and then they said they were splitting Israel in two. So I don't know what they meant by that. But I believe that I predicted on the Temple Mount there would be like fighting and war, because like the Muslims and the Jews, like, I just knew that would probably happen, though. It wasn't as much as a prediction whenever I read that the Temple Mount, like, the controversy that was going there, but I knew that would happen. And so, like, and another thing, like, I've noticed, like, around people that I know, I've been able to, like, predict people. Like, my daughter had a thyroid problem, and I knew she had a thyroid problem before the doctors ever diagnosed it. There was a girl that lived down the street by me, and, like, I knew something really bad was going to happen to her. So, like, I just was like, God, please, I hope nothing happens to this girl. And, like, 3 months later, she was found burned up, and she was dead. And I've just, like, my friend, his heart went out, and, like, I knew that his heart was going out, and I wanted to ask him. I didn't ask him at the time, because I kind of doubted myself. But, like, I guess I had a gift, like, I just needed to pray with people. Like, I've been back in church. I got my kids back in this really nice Pentecostal church, because I want to go to Pentecostal church so they could, I just really always felt like that's where I belonged. And it is where I belong, you know what I'm saying? But these fallen angels are going in everybody's heads in America that are using a specific drug called crystal meth, which later on I researched it is sorcery. They would torment me even more whenever I would use it. And that sorcery, it opens up a door, like your third eye, it opens it up into a demonic realm. And basically, they're telling all my friends that they're taking them to hell. They're seeing them. I saw aliens. I know Jesus said near the end of times there would be an alien invasion. I saw the aliens. They were like tall, brown aliens, kind of look like dinosaurs. They was up on 2 feet. And then I saw some blue robot-looking aliens with like lightning flashing in his face. And they just about killed me, like seriously. But I cried out to Jesus. Like I cried out to Jesus, and Jesus made them stop. Like he saved me. Like I know that was Jesus. That was the Holy Spirit. Like he saved me for real, because I almost lost my life. They went in my head, and it was like they was trying to suck my soul, my breath of life out of my body. And I felt it get up to like my knee. And like at that time, I put a Saturn and Jupiter ring in my head. I don't know how I come up with this, guys. But I was like, okay, I'm going to put a Saturn and Jupiter ring in my head. And I did that. And when I did that, it stopped, right? And I don't believe in astrology. I don't worship astrology or anything like that, because I know it's not from God. But I did read that Saturn and Jupiter conjoined 3 times before Jesus' birth. And so I thought that was interesting. Then I read somewhere like the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The way the alignments went was he had Saturn on his head. Then he had Jupiter like in his right or left hand. Then he had like the earth under his feet, and I think a Venus. But, you know, like I said, I don't believe in astrology. I quit reading it altogether. I don't want to have no part in it. But that Saturn and Jupiter ring made them stop, and it said that they conjoined 3 times before Jesus' birth happened. And I know, like, I think it's in December 2019 or 2020, Saturn and Jupiter is like conjoining again. But like I said, I don't believe that. I believe in God. God moves everything. He's the one in charge of this world. The planets don't rule us. They don't control us. And if you believe that, that's okay. That's your belief. We all can believe what we want to believe. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to share with people, like, you know, also another thing is I told my daughter that Kim Jong-un was going to go to the White House. And it was 6 months before he ever went to the White House. And then when he went, my daughter's like, Mom, guess what? I'm like, what? She's like, Kim Jong-un went to the White House, the president from North Korea. I'm like, really? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. I was like, that's amazing. I was like, well, you know, I didn't know, but, you know, and now Vladimir Putin's going to meet Israel. Like, I know after, like, he was at him about the downplane, like, I was like, okay, you know, I wish I could use Vladimir Putin to mediate between Israel and, that, you know, because some people are, like, saying, like, on YouTube, like, Russia's going to blow up Israel. They are not blowing up Israel. You know, but I just wanted to share with people, like, about, you know, all these things that I've predicted, because I believe that I do have a gift, to see the future. I said there would be false prophets popping up everywhere. I predicted that, and just recently, this week, I learned that I was reading up about things that Jesus Christ prophesied on the end of times, and he prophesied that there would be false prophets popping up everywhere, left and right. So I'm basically I'm not a prophet. I'm not saying I'm prophesying, but I'm predicting the same things that Jesus Christ prophesies, and a lot more things that, you know, I just said, like, if I say something, it's gonna happen, and it's like it does happen. So it's kind of crazy, you know. I just want everybody to pray for Israel and Iran, peace between the 2 countries, and I know a lot of people talking about Jared Kushner, like him being at that address 666. I did think that building, that address would have something to do with the Antichrist. I'm not saying he is the Antichrist. I don't know nothing about him to judge him, and I don't think it's right that we point our fingers and judge people and call them that. I kind of thought that about Donald Trump in the beginning, but I realized that it was wrong for me to look at him like that. You know, we should always pray for people and wish the best for people and not judge people and just wait and see what plays out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that Jared Kushner's making that peace agreement, and I I really hope that there would be a peace agreement. The Middle East really needs one, and I pray that it's a success. So I think everybody, instead of, like, oh, he's the one. Let's just pray for people, and let's pray that whatever he's doing for Israel, it works out, because that would be wonderful. I mean, the Middle East has never been at peace, and we all know that. Another thing I would like to share with everybody is like I guess the Dead Sea Scrolls were found in 1946, which was right before. It's like God sent somebody there to get them, right? And then it's like he waited, and then Israel gained its independence. And the funny thing is, the Dead Sea Scrolls had a lot of prophecies in there talking about, the end of times, talking about everything we're living in now. And I believe that whenever they were found, it'd be like 70 years for the end of time. So I look it up, like 70 years later, 2015, 2016, we're right before Donald Trump went in the White House, and we are having the 3 blood moons, okay, that Israel was talking about in the prophecy. And it's just how crazy how it all folds in together, like Donald Trump being born on the blood moon, naming Jerusalem the capital of Israel. The end of times, the 3 blood moons happened right before he went into office. And then, if you count, it's like 70 years since the Dead Sea Scrolls was found. Around 70 years since Israel gained its independence. And the thing is we know it's the end of times that we're living in, but we don't know. The Bible doesn't say if it's going to be a 70-year period. Is the end of times going to be a 70-year period? Is it going to be a 15-year period? I know that Jesus Christ said there'd be wars and rumors of wars, and it's still not time for his return yet. I see a lot of people with YouTube videos saying, Jesus is coming tomorrow, Jesus is coming next month. Guys, I know there's a lot of people that's having dreams about, Jesus and raptures and stuff. That's a good thing, because it says that, in the Bible that we'll have dreams and we'll see visions, right? But the thing is like, we don't know. The Bible also says we do not know. So I don't think all these people on YouTube saying, getting as many viewers as they can, with their Jesus is coming tomorrow. We all want Jesus to come. I want him to come today and take us all home. Honestly, the way the world is, the way those fallen angels tormented my body and has tormented me. When I went to the Pentecostal church, like, I felt so at home. Like, I always looked at God as like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost being one spiritual being. And in the Pentecostal church, that's what they believe. And they believe in all this spiritual stuff. So they all laid hands on me, and they all prayed over me. And it was just so wonderful. And I prayed to Jesus. My 16-year-old was making fun of me kind of for being like, I've never took my kids to church. Like, me and my kids' father's been separated. They went to a Catholic church. And I believe there's going to be Catholic people going to heaven. I'm not talking down on Catholic people. What's going on at the Vatican there's a lot of good Catholic people that really believe in Jesus Christ, and they try to serve the Lord and do their best. So I'm not going to point fingers at them. I do think what's going on at the Vatican is an abomination to Jesus Christ, but I can't judge the whole people that goes to the church. Just because there's something wrong going on at the head of the church doesn't mean that these people are bound to hell or something. That's not true. My kids, like I said, their dad, he's like upset with me, like, oh, I want them to go to Catholic church. They're Catholic. And I'm like, well, I want to take them to the Pentecostal church. So my little boy went in there. I prayed about it last week. After he was making fun of me, I prayed. And then this last weekend, guess what, guys? Jesus answered my prayers. I had them both inside of church this weekend. And the funny thing is, they loved it. There's like, Mom, I felt so much peace in there. I want to go back to church. And I was just so happy for them. Like, me being a mother, like, that's the best gift I can give my child, is the knowledge and wisdom and the Word of God, and them having a relationship with Jesus Christ, So that means a lot to me, because I have made a lot of mistakes in my life. Me and their kid's father separated, and it's not okay, you know what I'm saying? But that's just how it worked out. I've never been married again. I always said I would get married one time, and if that didn't work, that didn't work, Who knows what my future holds, but right now I'm enjoying just spending time with my kids. They're 14, 15, and 16, so, You know, it's hard to get children that age into church, but I know that Jesus, he hears my prayers, you know what I'm saying? And I'm thankful for it. Like, it just seems like everything I pray about, like, God gives it to me. I mean, I spend a lot of time praying for other people, you know what I'm saying? And I want to do more of that, you know? I want to go to hospitals. I want to pray for people and, you know, and let God heal them, you know what I'm saying? It's just so beautiful, especially when those people, when you can go lay hands and pray for somebody, and then they see, wow, it happened. That gives people the faith of Jesus Christ just through being healed, you know? Um, I just, you know, I don't know, like, I just wanted to share all this with you guys. I'm probably going to make another video, like, you know, I don't know what my next video is going to be about. I want to make one about offshore drilling, like all the things like I've researched and the things I know about it. Oh, another thing is, like, if you notice, like, the sea animals are dying all across the world right now, and it says, the prophecy says 1/3 of the sea life, the creatures will die, and that's going on right now. I mean, we're in those end of days, guys, and you know, I hope that everybody, you know, you hear this and you go to church or just pick up your Bible and, like, pray to God and try to get a relationship with Him, because, you know, it, we all, you know, we all have hope through faith in Jesus Christ, you know what I'm saying? And that's the beautiful thing about it, you know? Jesus came here, He gave Himself up for all of us so we could go back to heaven and be with our brother. You know what I'm saying? And that's beautiful. You know, but I want people to know that there is spiritual attacks that people go through. I mean, I've been going through a spiritual war battle, and at night I listen to prayers that reroute demons and all kinds of stuff. I mean, but I know that, like, my church, they said they're going to lay hands on me, they're going to pray over me, you know. And I read, like, I know that, like, Mary Magdalene, she went through the same thing. She almost committed suicide, and then Jesus, you know, He healed her. So, you know, there's been a lot of people that has a gift of seeing the future, and they've been attacked like this. So, you know, I know that it's, you know, it's just one of those things. I'm thankful that God saved my life. You know, I went through a lot of physical pain, guys. I was in and out of mental hospitals thinking I had schizophrenia for a year straight. I mean, I had to have the ambulance come and pick me up because my heart was blowing up, you know, and they were just, oh. And then when they split my body in two, and then when they went in through my head trying to suck my soul out of my head, oh, it was bad. It was a bad attack, guys. That stuff's surreal, you know what I'm saying? Get right with Jesus Christ, guys, and listen to me. Across the world, crystal meth, I'm telling you, if you're on that stuff and you start hearing voices, the only way it's going to stop is to put the drug down and get into church, pick up the Bible, and start praying, because you're going to go through a spiritual battle. And these people, what happens is, I believe that through more meth you do, they get more and more legal right to do things to you, right? So if you're just hearing the voices and you keep smoking it, you better believe, guys, that they're going to get enough legal right they can physically hurt you, okay? Don't let it get to that point, okay? I also looked up, guys, especially you guys for other countries. I know you've seen all these mass shootings going on that we're having across America. Well, guess what? I researched. Parkville, Florida, Nicholas Cruz was hearing voices, being tormented for 6 months, planning out the murder. Alright, then you have got a boy in Kansas City here where I live. He did the same thing. He was hearing voices. They told him to do a shooting. The mall shooting that happened, I forget what part of the United States was. He was hearing voices telling him to plan out the shooting. All these people doing mass shootings are people that's being tormented, which a lot of them I've read. I can't find information on all of them to back this up, but they have had drug problems with, like, crystal meth. You know, I did heroin for 7 years. I'm clean. I'm off of it. God delivered me. I worked with God. I prayed about it. You know what I'm saying? 2 times I overdosed. I was dumped in a parking lot one time, and Jesus Christ sent somebody. I know it was God. He sent somebody to come pick me up because they called an ambulance. Somebody dumped me off in a parking lot in the middle of Kansas City and took off and left me there at night. I believe it was at night. And then another time I fell out. You know, it's been 2 or 3 times now. So if someone that has a gift from God to see the future, someone that believed in Jesus Christ as much as I did, can become a drug addict, anybody can. But you want to know what the truth is? We, across America, if you look at California, the effects the drugs has had on the West Coast, I'm scared it's going to happen like that across America. Really, I'm really scared what America's going to look like in 20 years. My message is to everybody, if you're going through drug addiction, okay, it's spiritual. You are looking for something to make you feel good. And I promise you, if you go to church, if you pick up the Bible, even if you're still doing drugs, don't feel like you can't go into church if you're doing drugs. My church welcomes people who does drugs. There's churches that do not judge people, that will help you through your addiction. And when you feel the love of God, and when you feel all that, when you feel that, it's going to start moving things in your life. God will start moving things. He'll start changing you, and you're going to feel spiritually filled up, full of love, and you're not going to have the need to do drugs, because I felt the need to do drugs. I did. I felt the need, like I had just given up on life. I went through a 10-year abusive relationship. I just given up. I wasn't going to church. I wasn't doing anything. You know what I'm saying? And that's really sad. And it's sad to see. I mean, I promise you guys, if you will just listen to what I'm telling you. My brother was on heroin for 3 years. He fought in the war. He came back from Afghanistan, the Korengal Valley. United States Army 10th Mountain Division. All right, he was a forward observer. He came back from war, and he got on heroin, and I started doing it with him. I asked him if I could do it with him, and I started doing it with him. I was in an abusive relationship. I was at a vulnerable point in my life. And my brother Randall, he's been clean off of heroin now. He found Jesus Christ, and he's been clean for about 3 or 4 years now. He hasn't been doing any heroin. And, I've really been off of it for, about a year. I picked it up once or twice, and I put it immediately back down. I just didn't like it anymore. So that's what Jesus did. That's what God did for me. He told me you don't need that anymore. And then here lately, I started wanting to get back in church, and I started seeing all these things that I've been predicting has been coming true. And it seems like everything I pray for, He gives it to me. So God is great, guys. And just pray for Iran and pray for Israel, and pray that that these things don't happen. If everybody prays, about, all the power outages, and that doesn't happen, I believe that I was given this knowledge so I could share it with everybody, so everybody could pray that it doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? And my message is to Israel, if anybody sees this important, you need to make peace with Iran at all costs. And Gantz, the guy that's running for election, I have a really, really bad feeling that guy is bad for Israel. Really, really bad. I said that. I looked at his picture and I said, oh man, this guy cannot be voted in. He's going to have Israel in war. He's going to make it get away from the Bible, get away from the holy land that it is. He's going to turn it into something else that's not good. And now, God answered my prayers. I prayed about it. It looks like his polls are going down. So, yeah. So Israel, everybody, don't vote for that guy. I'm telling you, I just feel it. I predict a lot of things. I felt a lot of things when I look at people's pictures, and I'm telling you, when I see people, I can feel things, and he's not good for Israel for as far as running the country. No, he's probably fine in charge of the military, but not running your country. Please don't vote him in. But anyways, though, well, that's everything, guys. I just wanted to share everything. I'm sorry it was a 30-minute video this time, but I hope you all enjoy, and share my video. And just everybody pray together, okay? God bless you. Thanks.